Koppel, host of the Time for Coffee podcast, where you get first-hand career advice into the jobs and industries that interest you the most. And before we start today's show, I have a quick favor to ask you. If you haven't already, I'd be incredibly grateful if you give us a rating and a review on iTunes. And if you're like me, you need to do it now because you'll forget later and because it's the best way to help others who may be in search of career advice to find this free resource. So press pause if you haven't done it and do it right now. I'll wait. Thanks so much and enjoy today's show. Hey there, Java Junkies. Welcome to another K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. By the way, K-Cups come in 3 sizes, single, double, and triple shots, or roughly 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes in length. So if you don't have time to throw back an entire caffeinated career conversation, these K-Cup mini episodes of T4C can give you a quick caffeinated fix, whether you're on the go or you only have a few minutes to binge. So grab your mug and take a chug, because it's time for a caffeinated career double shot K-Cup with my guest, Jerry Lee. So in the background, at the same time that you were at Lucid, maybe actually it was while you were still at Google, but right around this time, you made a friendship that started off on LinkedIn and it turned into a business relationship. Can you tell us how that happened? Because this is the story of what became Wonsulting.
That's exactly right. Similar to how I got to Google, I wish I had the sexy story, but it really just started with us getting connected on LinkedIn, Jonathan reaching out saying, hey, I'd love to move to the Bay to work at a tech company. Said, hey, listen, I'll help you, give you a referral. This is sort of what I've done. Hopefully this helps. He eventually moved up to the Bay Area and we got asked to do a guest lecture at UC Berkeley about professional development. And what had happened after that was we both posted a photo from that event on our LinkedIns. 3 more schools reached out. And we're like, whoa, that's weird. We did the same thing again. And then after each of those 3 posts, 2 more schools reached out. So we had a total of 6. And it just kept going on and on. And so for about 5 or 6 months, Jonathan and I, we would be traveling around to do workshops for schools in Canada, schools in University of Michigan, in Boston, and Texas, and all over California, in Seattle. So it was quite interesting to see how much demand there was, not only from our LinkedIn, but also doing these workshops. And later people started asking us, hey, can you guys review my resume? I'll pay you. We're like, pay? Sure, $20. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, this is just going to be lunch money. And they were like, only 20? I mean, okay, sure. And I was like, do we charge too low? And so that's sort of how Wonsulting came about. It was that people kept asking and we were like, sure, here you go. And that's sort of the philosophy that we have as we sort of think about building the business, is that we don't want to build something that nobody wants. We only want to build something that actually people are dying for. They're like, oh my gosh, I need this. Which is why we've created TikToks, LinkedIn's, the 20, our online course service. Everything has been as a result of people asking us.
How are you applying the skills that you developed working at Google and Lucid in building Wonsulting? Because as you and I both know, Jerry, one of, I think, the biggest ahas that our young listeners who are still in school can get is the fact that no matter what their major is, they are building transferable skills.
The transferable skills, I feel like, has really helped shape Wonsulting to where it is today are really 2 things. One is we have a principle that we talk about a lot internally where we go, debate internally, champion externally. I want our teams to be the ones to say, I think we can do this differently. Oh, have we thought about this? because I don't want to launch something for people to say, well, Jerry, well, why is it like this? Why is it like that? I want us to be the biggest sort of challengers of our product and our services that we have, so that then we deliver something that we feel extremely confident in. And that's something that I learned at Google, where we questioned each other like no other, but we did it from a place of wanting to make each other better. And the second thing that I've learned is just working with people. Like, I didn't realize how much you have to prioritize people in building a company, and sometimes even above the work that they're doing. Like, you just need to be super sensitive to how people are reacting in meetings. If they're not talking, being, well, hey, X, I would love to get your thoughts. What do you think? Making sure you're inclusive. These are the things that I felt like I got a little glimpse in because I saw my manager do them so well, that I'm now deploying so sort of same skills that I've seen onto my team.
What about any of your strategy and analytical experience? Are you using that?
100%. One of the things that I teach and instill my leadership team is, it's so easy to plan week by week, but I force my team to plan 3-4 months ahead. Every department, every team has a roadmap that they are working to. And if something changes, the roadmap is the source of truth. So that's where sort of that business strategy comes in. And the analytics is something that we are using significantly more now. We are using data to help drive the decisions of how we should continue moving our business. If there's a question of, well, hey, should we think about launching a new service? The question I'll have is, well, how many people actually want it? So being able to have those data-driven conversations absolutely is something that I prioritize. Definitely not to the depth of what we did at Google, because that was a whole layer of just making sure we had the right decisions. But we're definitely scrappy. We're definitely doing what we can with the resources that we do have.
Thanks for tuning in to this K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. If you want to listen to our entire caffeinated career conversation, please check out the show notes for this episode. Thanks so much for listening to this latest episode of T4C. And if you're interested in learning more about my coaching services for confused college students and recent grads, feel free to check out the Time for Coffee website under the coaching tab at time4coffee.org, or text me at 202-236-5712. That's 202-236-5712.